Why did a high-achieving female Harvard student become the mastermind behind a private casino? Let's witness the unbelievable story adapted from real events. As a child, Molly was guided by her father to become a skier. Her father had high expectations for her, and under strict training, Molly progressed from a beginner to a contender with Olympic qualifications. However, during a competition for the Olympic entry, Molly suffered an unexpected injury that forced her to bid farewell to her athletic career. Heartbroken, Molly focused on her rehabilitation and worked hard to secure admission to Harvard University. Molly's departure from competitive sports was a disappointment to her father, and his attitude made her reluctant to stay at Harvard. She chose to pause her studies and move to the West Coast in Los Angeles to pursue unconventional jobs such as a cocktail waitress. Her Harvard education, striking appearance, and eloquent speech quickly distinguished her from a crowd of glamorous girls. All of this caught the attention of a wealthy regular at the bar. He invited Molly to work at his company, providing her with a second source of income. Even with 2 jobs, she could barely make ends meet. Molly was in dire need of money and more work. As if hearing her thoughts, the wealthy boss handed Molly a list full of contact information. His request was for Molly to quickly contact these clients and ask if they would participate in a poker game the following week. Molly swiftly completed the task, and the game was held as scheduled. Los Angeles, being a hub for American socialites, had no ordinary people among the clients. They were actors, sports stars, and even business tycoons frequently featured in newspapers. These people were different from typical gamblers. They enjoyed the thrill of winning and losing at the poker table. Molly didn't miss this excellent opportunity to learn. She Googled every person's details, analyzed their personalities and hobbies, and studied various poker skills. Soon, Molly earned thousands of dollars from these gamblers, which was completely legal in the United States. This naturally thrilled the young Molly, who began planning how to make even more profit. She soon set her sights on Mr. X, a rising star in Hollywood. Although he earned a hefty salary from his films, he found winning money at poker games much more satisfying than acting. For Molly, pleasing Mr. X by finding enough opponents for his poker games meant a significant paycheck for herself. The challenge was finding suitable opponents, but Mr. X's celebrity status naturally attracted many wealthy gamblers. To bring in more participants, Molly contacted her former bar colleagues, offering them $1,000 for every gambler they brought in. The allure of the celebrity and the high profits motivated everyone to promote vigorously, and soon the poker games Molly was involved in were overflowing with players. However, the real money-making opportunity for Molly was not in the games themselves, but in gathering valuable information and insider stock market tips from the upper-class society participating in these games. With her refined upbringing, Molly easily sifted through the vast amount of information to find truly valuable insights. The substantial increase in income made Molly lose interest in returning to Harvard to complete her studies. She devoted all her time to organizing poker games, and the effort paid off quickly. In the glittering world of Los Angeles, Molly started living a respectable life, owning a nice apartment and an expensive Audi sports car, a far cry from her previous financial struggles. While Molly was thriving, counting money to the point of sleeplessness, the wealthy boss who initially hired her was suffering heavy losses at the poker table. Upset, he even considered cutting Molly's assistant salary. However, as a former athlete, Molly was not someone to give up easily or remain silent in the face of unfair treatment. After a night of contemplation, she decided to bypass her boss and start her own venture. With her experience in organizing poker games, she felt confident in her ability. She visited the top 3 local hotels to scout for venues and even purchased professional poker tables and equipment. To cater to the gamblers' tastes, she ordered high-end liquor and cigars, aiming to ensure their complete satisfaction. Meanwhile, her old boss, underestimating Molly, hired a new assistant to replace her. However, Molly was a force to be reckoned with. Quietly and efficiently, she informed all the gamblers about the new venue for the poker games. When they arrived, they found that the only person missing was Molly's former boss. With Mr. X's support, the rest of the gamblers quickly followed suit, and all the regulars shifted to Molly's new casino, ensuring its successful launch. Molly's casino differed from the previous one. She made efforts to eliminate cheaters, making it a trustworthy place for all gamblers. Concerned about the legal risks of running a casino, Molly hired a top-notch lawyer as her legal advisor. The lawyer advised her that to avoid legal issues, she should not take a cut from the games but could accept voluntary tips from gamblers. Molly heeded this advice and even provided lending services to diversify her income. Knowing the importance of staying on the right side of the law, especially with the IRS, Molly diligently filed taxes and issued 1099 forms to her employees, ensuring that there was no reason for the IRS to scrutinize her operations. In the poker games, there were winners and losers. The one who lost the most money was a hedge fund manager, who routinely lost large sums at the table. To maintain his spot in the game, he would tip Molly $5,000, seemingly indifferent to his losses. He continued to appear at the games, confessing to Molly that his participation was a networking strategy. The money he lost at the table was insignificant compared to the millions he earned through his hedge fund. Harlem, introduced by Mr. X, was an interesting character. An experienced and skilled player with excellent psychological resilience, Harlem was typically a winner at the poker table. However, during one game, he was defeated by the hedge fund manager in a surprising upset. This loss shattered Harlem, who was used to winning. Attempting to recover his losses led to further defeats, and he quickly found himself penniless. Harlem's gambling addiction strained his marriage to the point where his wife left him. Molly, seeing Harlem's downfall, urged him to abandon his thoughts of recovering his losses. Surprisingly, Harlem soon gathered $1 million in cash, shocking Molly. Upon investigation, she learned that Mr. X had been lending money to many regulars at her games, effectively controlling them. Molly thought she was in control, but it was Mr. X who held the real power. Mr. X proposed a partnership with Molly, but she didn't want to be just a puppet. After she refused, Mr. X contacted all the gamblers and shifted the venue, taking them to a new location to continue the games. Overnight, Molly's poker games became deserted. After 2 weeks of failed entrepreneurship and deep contemplation, she decided to take control of her destiny once again. Following a period of preparation, Molly resolved to restart her poker games. This time, she left Los Angeles for the East Coast, settling in New York. Learning from her past experiences, she targeted wealthy heirs as her new clients. As a bastion of old money, New York was teeming with affluent families whose heirs had both the time and the money that suited her needs. Utilizing her experience and leveraging New York's socialites, Molly quickly became popular in East Hampton, Long Island, attracting over a dozen players. In New York, Molly's annual income on her tax return was $477 million. However, as the games grew, so did the risks. Cheating incidents occurred, and Molly, as the organizer, had to foot the bill. As the scale of her operations expanded, so did the dangers. Continuing to rely solely on tips could potentially lead to bankruptcy if faced with a large bet gone wrong. Molly was torn between continuing her legal operation and taking a risk. Finally, after a multi-million-dollar game, she wavered and began taking a commission, officially crossing into illegal territory. Blinded by wealth, she carelessly welcomed new clients with ties to the Russian mafia, unaware of the impending danger. The trigger for her downfall was the hedge fund manager she had trusted, whose fund turned out to be a scam. After being arrested by the FBI, he not only confessed his financial crimes, but also implicated Molly's games, portraying her as a seductress who lured him into gambling. Molly received a subpoena and cooperated with the FBI investigation. To settle the matter, she wrote a check for $500,000 as compensation for the investors deceived by the hedge fund. However, this incident attracted the attention of the FBI's New York division to Molly, though she was oblivious to it. As her poker games grew larger and she longed to leave this life, her substantial profits drew the attention of the underworld. The Russian mobsters wanted to partner with her, but Molly was unwilling to wade into such murky waters. Soon, she faced their retaliation. Losing years of earnings in a robbery meant as a warning. If she refused to cooperate with them, the next time the consequences would be more than just financial loss and injury. After resting at home for 2 weeks, Molly was surprised that she hadn't received any more calls from the mob. She found out from the newspaper that the police had recently arrested a large number of gang members. However, as the investigation deepened, the FBI began to prosecute Molly. The charges were numerous and widespread, linking many of her gambling clients to her. Even Molly herself was taken aback by the extent of the allegations. The first thing the FBI did was freeze her assets. Aware of the intricacies of her own poker games, Molly sought legal help. Fortuitously, the lawyer's daughter admired Molly, which motivated him to assist her. As a former prosecutor, the lawyer understood why the FBI was targeting Molly. The The agency wanted to pressure her to reveal all the information she had on the gamblers. Over the years, Molly had recorded various details about socialites and celebrities on her computer. For the FBI, just a few of these could lead to several new cases. Molly, however, steadfastly refused the offer. She was concerned about potential dangers to herself and her family and wanted to maintain her professional reputation as a poker game organizer. The lawyer admired Molly's stance and worked hard to negotiate on her behalf. In the end, Molly preferred to risk 3 years in prison rather than betray her clients and plead guilty in court. At the last moment, the judge, disapproving of the FBI's intimidating tactics, decided to be lenient. Ultimately, Molly avoided jail, but was still ordered to pay a fine of over $2 million. After years immersed in the world of gambling, without her poker games, Molly faced uncertainty about her future. Reflecting on her past and the challenges she had faced, she gathered the courage to face a new phase of her life. Molly had been forced out of the Olympic scene, accidentally entering the world of high-stakes poker. The allure of money led her astray, and she even ventured into illegal activities. Throughout her life, Molly faced choices. Sometimes she chose to work hard and quietly, while at other times she took shortcuts. Life is often like this, full of choices and challenges. The rewards of hard work may come with struggles, but they often lead to a longer and more fulfilling journey.